Let's wrap it up with our discussion with modes, and we're going to talk about the Locrian mode. Locrian mode is a diminished mode. You can use it over diminished seventh chords. You can also use this mode, and this is the way I actually use it, is you use it, okay, for example, we're in the key of G major, right? This chord progression I've been using as an example. All those chords come right from G. Well, you can use the Locrian mode over this chord progression, but you have to start it on F sharp. And the reason is the Locrian mode starts on the 7th degree. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So here's my Locrian mode starting on F sharp. So this is played at an octave lower, okay? Octave higher. Still starting on F sharp. It's just a G major scale starting on F sharp, okay? And it's diminished because it has a diminished fifth. Okay? And I think in the diminished fifth, I should point out, instead of being like Phrygian, hear that diminished fifth? Okay, that's what makes it diminish. I should point out that the Locrian mode is actually almost identical to Ionian, except it's, okay, Ionian you can play it two ways. You can either do it like this, or you can do it on a 4-fret pattern starting here. Notice I'm starting on G. If I start on F sharp, I've got my Locrian mode. Okay? And that also will sound fine. So if you want to use Locrian mode, you determine what key you're in, and then it's a major key, and then you move on to the 7th degree. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What is this note? F sharp, and that's my Locrian mode. So I use F sharp Locrian over G major chord progression. I'm going to give you some more tips about modes coming up in the next video segment. The last part of the modes, this section on modes that I want to talk about, I've talked about how to use them on major key. So if you have a chord progression and it's in a major key, all you got to do is determine the key signature, determine what key you're in. For example, we're in G. Then you can use any of the modes that come from G. G Ionian, A Dorian, B Phrygian, C Lydian, D Mixolydian, E Aeolian, F sharp Locrian, and then G Ionian again. If you're in a minor key, what do you do? Okay. In a minor key, remember how I told you that the relative minor of G is E? Because you go to the 6th degree. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This note's E, so the 6th degree of the major scale will tell you what relative minor it is. So in this case, the relative minor of G is E. And remember that mode was E Aeolian. Now, if you determine, let's say for example, you're an E Aeolian, and you got this chord progression. I'm in that chord progression, and I say, you know what, that thing is, the whole chord progression circles around and is centered around and ends on E. So I'm going to say E minor, because I see this E and then G natural, A. Those chords are all in the key of E minor. E minor. What scale can you use for E minor? E minor pentatonic. You could use E natural minor. Well, what is E natural minor? E natural minor is just the Aeolian mode. Now, as soon as you realize that that's E Aeolian, or that you're in the key of E minor, all of a sudden, a light should go off in your head saying, you know what, I can also use any of the modes of that scale. The modes of the E minor scale are exactly the same as the modes of the G major scale that we just talked about. Okay? And you might be scratching your head going, how in the world can that be? Well, E Aeolian, right? If you wrote that out, you'd have E. If you wrote out the notes of the E minor scale, you would have E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E. If you determine that that you're in the key of E, and E Aeolian, well, what's the second mode of a natural minor scale? The second mode, just go up 1 degree. Here's my F sharp. What mode do you think this is? Well, what mode was it in G major? F sharp Locrian. So the second mode of E minor is F sharp Locrian. Or the second mode of any minor key is Locrian. The third mode of any minor key is Ionian. The fourth mode of any minor key is Dorian. The fifth mode of any minor key is Phrygian. The sixth mode of any minor key is Lydian. And the seventh mode of any minor key is Mixolydian. And then you're back to Aeolian when you get back to your tonic. So, if you're in this E minor chord progression,